Last time we played a Streltsi spam as a Kislev army against the Lizardman and we suffered a defeat, but does that mean we give up on the unit and switch over to something else? No, we adjust the build and try to improve more and more until we achieve a victory. So this time, instead of bringing Tsarina Katerina as the leadership of the army, we are bringing her father, the mighty Boris Ursin. Supported by Patriarch here, these will be some powerful melee combatants able to grind through a whole bunch of monsters and whatnot, providing a solid leadership unlike last time where we got sniped by a hand of the gods. Anyways, we're fighting high elves here against knighthood, so it's not like there is another hand of the gods to worry about. As for the rest of the army, a front line of Cossacks mixed in with armored Cossacks, and as usual we are bringing back the Streltsis, 5 of them in total with some spears flanking, providing protection against high elf cavalry. This will be our main source of damage output. As for our opponent knighthood here, we have a front line of Lothern Sea God going for that missile spam here, as it is now backed up by a couple eagle claw bolt throwers, hoping to snipe out my cavalry and whatnot. And then there are 3 dragon princes, one of them the Fireborn, some very heavy cavalry, though they are not the only elites, as the Ever Queen's court guards are here providing that armor-piercing firepower. They are here to protect their queen, Alariel the Radiant, on top of an eagle mount, bringing in Earth Blood, Fast Protection, and Star of Avalon. Now that we're done with both armies, let's get the battle started. With the High Elf Eagle Clawbolt first, I was forced to rush my infantry into firing position, as the High Elf Artillery will be a great threat to the Streltsis with their anti-infantry armor-piercing scatter shots. The Lothern Sea God will also be firing, but they are shooting at the wrong target. Shooting into the armored Cossacks, most of their arrow volleys will be shrugged off by that heavy armor, 80 armor on the armored Cossacks and the silver shields with 55% missile block chance. At the same time, I'm pushing up my characters here since my opponent didn't exactly bring the greatest single entity sniping toolkit. Yes, there are some Ever Queen's court guard, but their missile fire can only do so much against a rather small hitbox of Boris on his bear. Plus, they are located so far back in the high elf formation, as long as I don't stray too close to them, it should be fine. At the front line here, Lothern Sea God trading extremely cost effectively against Cossacks with spears. With their silver shield, they should be able to mitigate most of the damage from the Cossacks with spears, essentially giving the Kislevites a taste of their own medicine minus the armor. As a result, the Spear Cossacks' advance is stopped by the High Elf arrows, and I'll be pushing the armored Cossacks into the Lothern Sea God, hoping to use their melee stats and heavy armor to grind down the Lothern Sea God and start pushing, threatening the backline artillery and Ever Queen's court guard. Now, while the staunch line of High Elf spears is hard to break through, they are not exactly great at killing armored targets. As you can see, the armored Cossacks are taking minimal damage as they work their way through the Lothern Sea Gods. Still, this engagement will go on for a while, so we'll be shifting our focus to the right flank, where the characters are YOLOing themselves into some high elf heavy cavalry. And by characters, I mean Boris Ursis charging head-on into the Dragon Princes, popping up stand your ground to mitigate the incoming countercharge damage, and Shard Blade pinning them down with a total of 75% speed debuff, slowing them down to only 20 speed. Despite the Fireborn being anti-large elites, the Chads of Kislev simply don't care. Now that the Patriarch is in melee, the Das Brazier is activated, topping up the health of both Boris and Patriarch himself. The Fireborn has taken noticeable damage from the Shard Blade, which ignores their physical resistance and armor, and on top of that, the Streltsis are firing in. Seeing this missile threat, Knighthood will be peeling off some Dragon Princes from the melee engagement, trying to deal with my missile threats. But a fatal mistake has been made. With the movement order issued to the flank of the Kislevite army here, there's no follow-up attacking order from my opponent, as his attention is spread thin across the battlefield, controlling another unit in another place. You can see some movement from the Ever Queen's court guard, but that means the Dragon Princes are now left totally neglected, while the Streltsis are just peppering them down, filling them up with lead. A very tragic loss of elites for the High Elves for sure. At the same time, the line of armored Cossacks are almost done with the Lothern Sea Gods, as the staunch line of High Elf spears simply lack that punching power to hit back. The sisters are providing cover fire, but they are probably doing more friendly fire to their own units. Over here, another unit of Dragon Princes are trying to pin down my characters, but they are simply struggling to cut through all the heavy armor and defenses and healing on my single entities. A mistake on my part though, as the Streltsis are moving into the Lothland Seaguard instead of shooting into them, possibly a misclick from my end. With this attacking order gone wrong, they are exposed to those scatter shots from the bolt throwers. While the Lothland Seaguard are being focused down by my regrouped Cossacks, being showered with arrows. At the back of the high elf formations, the Eagle Club bolt throwers are mostly unthreatened due to the lack of mobility on my end. Some of them were shot up quite badly by some closed-in Streltsis, but that's about it. I need to get my armored Cossacks as close as possible and start pressuring them off the artillery pieces. Over here, a second unit of Dragon Prince have been peeled off, charging straight to the Streltsis this time. But alas, there is a second unit of Streltsis aiming straight down the line. They are aiming right down the flanks of the elite high elf cavalry, mowing them down one after the other with a barrage of lead and gunpowder. So unfortunately, this charge of the Dragon Princes will be beaten back, especially with much of their charge being mitigated by the decent armor on the Streltsi units. Now, in the far side here, we have some Dragon Princes running down the armored Cossacks, while Fireborn, the last of them, trying to surround Boris Ursus, but unfortunately being hit by the Shard Blade a second time. We did miss that activation, but still, Patriarch and the Boris Ursus are just a bit too much of a power combo here, with all the healing, especially the double healing from Das Brazier as well as Solak's Lullaby. Of course, this was not played on a tournament, but more of a ranked ladder game. So there are no limits to item selection and double heal is allowed. Now back to the game, High Elf Artillery is finally shut down. There is still one unit of Lothland Seaguard firing into the fray, routing off some of my Streltsis, but there is another very healthy unit of Cossacks with spears and a couple tattered ones moving in to shower them with arrow fire. Over here, Alariel is diving down onto the Streltsis, hoping to distract them from firing, but the Streltsis, being the chats that they are, simply don't care. Now Boris is running rather low on HP, but he is still fighting valiantly, cutting down Dragon Prince after Dragon Prince. A Star of Avalon is dropped onto the Dragon Princes, but that is probably not enough to save them, as the Streltsis are still firing into the unit. Their armor piercing taking a huge toll on the elite cavalry. There are some Fireborn regrouped and they are now under fire from a very tattered unit of Streltsis. Now this is not a way to die for them, they should be going down in a glorious charge, Last Samurai style for their beloved Ever Queen. And under the gaze of Alariel, they are doing exactly that. Riders falling left, right and center to a hail of bullets. And after his final companion dying with a janky animation, one last Dragon Prince have made it to the Streltsi line. But his final charge was intercepted by a brave Kislevite who blocks the charge with his own life, buying time for his comrades to shoot down the final Fireborn. A rather poetic end to both the High Elf and the Kislevite in this battle. Now these Everqueen's Court Guards are being buffed by fast protection with the extra melee defense and heavy armor. This means the armored Cossacks, even with the 77 attack from the Taurus Battle Hymn, is still no match for the 84 melee defense plus 70 armor of the Sisters. The Sisters will be pulling back under this magical protection. And on the far side here, Lothland Seaguard being fired from all fronts by the Streltsis. There are some still rather healthy Cossacks units over here. Armored Cossacks chasing off the Lothland Seaguard with shields. And Alariel the Radiant trying for a last desperate gambit, using Psycho charging to the maximum effect and slowly chip away the health of my heavily armored characters. At the back here, one final unit of Dragon Princes are routed by the melee attack of the Streltsis and also crossfire for sure. And now the Cossacks with spears can now turn their focus onto Alariel the Radiant. Though Alariel does have fast protection active on herself. Up to 64 melee defense, she is tanking rather well in this melee combat, but the problem is that the Borrow Blood effect is keeping Boris in the fight here, especially with Stand Your Ground active. Suddenly, everything in the vicinity becomes much harder to hit. Alariel's bodyguards are still holding in combat, so the Queen can charge down once again. Finally, Boris' Borrow Blood Unbreakable has ran out and his leadership is on the verge of breaking. But the problem is that Alariel the Radiant is also extremely low in health. Yes, there's the support of the Everqueen's Court Guard, but they are not exactly the greatest melee defenders here. In front of two true apex predators, that is the Kislevite Spares. Alariel's oversized pigeon has no other choice but to run, and the Kislevites shall secure their victory. First of all, GG to my opponent Knighthood for playing as the High Elves. I do have to confess that my build is not legal in certain tournaments, namely the new Clan BBB tournament, as they have banned the double healing on the Patriarch. They have only allowed one single healing item on the hero. However, this is a battle on the Wild West of the ranked ladder, so I was able to deploy this lethal combo, earning back some insane value on the characters with all the buff spamming. Boris alone earning 3000 gold worth of damage value, using the sharp blade to drain away the health of the surrounding dragon princes, and of course the Patriarch, who is not even a melee-centric character, earned back 1600 gold just by punching all those dragon princes and maybe later some of the Ever Queen's court guard. Streltsis, these three got wrecked by a combination of Lothland Sea God arrow fire, the Eagle Club bolt thrower bombardment, and also some of the Ever Queen's court guard shooting at them, ignoring their armor with that armor piercing missiles. However, the other two managed to focus fire onto some dragon princes, earning some absolutely solid value there. And the armored Cossacks performing quite well against the Lothland Sea God, as they are a solid infantry as long as they're not fighting some armor-piercing, heavily armored infantry. However, Cossacks with spears, only two of them really earned back their value, as their comrades are shot up real bad by a combination of Lothland Sea God and the Eagle Claw bolt throwers. For the High Elves here, the Dragon Princes Fireborn earned back some insane value, but only getting a single kill. Yes, that's right, they only killed that one single Streltsi in the end, as they have been stuck on Boris Ursus the entire time, as Boris the Chat Ursus is tanking their damage and punching them hard in the face. They have managed to use their anti-large bonus to their good effect, grinding down the Patriarch and Boris Ursus to extremely low health, but just not quite enough against the double healing. And then the Dragon Princes, one of them earned back a bit of value, charged down some of the Streltsis, but being crossfired to death once again, and the other just got a bit of a mistake in micro, being sacrificed in vain. Now for the other missile troops here, as the Ever Queen's Court Guard, they earned back some solid value with their armor-piercing missiles, shooting at Boris and also some of the other units, including the Streltsis perhaps. And the Eagle Club bolt throwers earned back quite a bit of their value and some more by shooting at all these infantry using their anti-infantry bonus scatter shots. The Lothland Sea God, not so much of a good performance, as they're not exactly fighting a favorable target. Their missiles are mostly shrugged off by the armored Cossacks, and the Cossacks with spears aren't exactly the most expensive target. Still, these two earned back their own cost and then some more, killing off a bunch of troops by a good combination of shielded protection and quality of arrow fire. As for Alariel herself, not really there to fight, did some nice cycle charging in the end, but mostly there for the healing and the fast protection buff. Anyways, that's it for today's battle. If you enjoy it and want to see more, be sure to hit the like and subscribe to get notified when I upload new videos. Especially recently, I'll be making more videos about competitive plays, as the Clan BBB's tournament is happening and a ton of replay is coming out for the community. So make sure to subscribe and don't miss out on the competitive multiplayer action. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tacticalich signing out.